All right, this is another episode of What's Going On in Search. What we're currently doing is searching bathroom remodeler Miami, Florida. Why we're doing this is we want to see what's currently ranking in Google, try to figure out why it's ranking, what can we take away from their Google business profile or their website. Maybe there's some SEO tactics that they're applying that we can steal to apply to our own sites, or maybe we see something that is like really catches our eye on things that we can test on our own personal sites, or I can test on my sites or my client sites to see, hey, is this a ranking factor? Like, how much does this actually help with ranking the site? Is there anything anybody's doing that we disagree with? Or is there anything that I think that they could definitely improve on? And then go into detail of what those things are. At the end, we are going to do a audit of this site here, Cool Renovations. Go into some things that are currently occurring on their site that they need to fix, some suggestions that I have on what they need to fix, and that will be later. If you have any questions or if you want me to go over your site live, just comment down below your URL or give me your Google business profile and I'll look over it live here. Okay. So we did bathroom remodeler as our keyword, and then we're doing Miami, Florida as the state. First things first that I'm seeing is we've got some exact match domain names in here. Sorry, we've got some exact match Google business profile names here. We got bathroom remodeling, Mia remodeling contractors, Miami kitchen and bath remodeling. So these are some great Google business profile names. Always what I highly recommend doing is having your Google business profile have the keyword you're trying to target in the name. So if you're a bathroom remodeler, or like down here, there's a kitchen and bathroom remodeler, place that in your Google business profile name. Now, if your incorporation documents, your LLC documents, the documents or what have you that made you an entity do not say that the name of your business includes that keyword, file a do business as with your state for like 40-60 bucks. Then you'll have the proper documentation for when you go to change your Google business profile name and Google asks, okay, is that like actually the name of your company? You'll have the documents that support it. So just looking through these Google business profiles, we're trying to see what are they doing? Why are they currently ranking? We've got pretty high review count. We got 344, 194. Down here, we've only got 14. Something that I'm noticing is the ones that are open. We see here open 24 hours. Then we got closed, 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 closed. We can see that being open is having a influence on who's currently ranking in the top 3. Something to be aware about is, on average, when your hours list that you're closed during certain hours, right? So let's say you close at 8 p.m. After 8 p.m., Google will start to rank you lower in the search. Now, this does not mean go and lie about being 24 hours or go and lie that you're actually open later, because what will happen is Google will fact check you. They'll call your business to see if you're actually open, and if you're not, your Google business profile could get suspended. So let's start clicking on these and seeing what do they got going on. So they got videos, which is great. 309 photos, which is awesome. They've got 9 categories, which for me is a little high. Let's see, they got 101 services. Let's go. So they've got services listed on the additional categories, which is great. It's a great job by them. their top level category, which is matching their exact keyword they're trying to rank for. Bathroom remodeler is their first category, which is great. They've got architecture firm as second, building designer, construction company, custom home builder, interior designer, kitchen remodeler, and then they also have remodeler as their other categories. Personally, if you're trying to rank for all of these or these like variations of the very similar same service, what I personally would do is get them a second or a third Google Business Profile so that we can rank for those individual terms. If you're wanting to rank for custom home builder or these other keywords or these other categories that you have on this business profile, personally, I would just rather get a second or a third Google Business Profile so that way we can exact match the Google Business Profile name, the first primary category, then all of your services, and then get you a new site as well that could be built specifically targeting that top level keyword. Instead of what you currently have doing is you're trying to rank for all of these instead of just feeding like one big one. Now, I haven't seen their site yet, so the site may tell me a different story, but that would just be my suggestion. What I really like what they're doing is underneath their primary category, bathroom remodeler, they've got all of these additional services and they're doing keyword variations, which is great. This Chrome extension right here on the right side that you see me looking at, this is called Plepper, Plepper. It is a free Chrome extension. It is a great Chrome extension. I highly recommend it. So as we're going through, we can see that they've got all of these keywords and then a variation of them as well, right? So not only are they targeting bathroom remodeler, they've got bathroom remodeling costs, bathroom renovation project, bathroom transformation, bathroom upgrade, right? Having all of these services that are horizontal, right? They're essentially the same service. They're also a variation, a keyword variation of the top level service that you're trying to target. This helps you rank for that top level service that top level keyword you're trying to rank for. And it also helps you pick up those horizontal or adjacent keywords when people are searching for your service, but they may not be searching specifically bathroom remodeler. This is a common thing that occurs is us as the technicians, us as the ones doing the installs or doing the services, we actually know what certain components, certain parts, certain materials are called, right? But what can occur is that when your client, your ideal customer, is searching in Google, they may not be using the same terminology or words that you are, right? Because you, when you go to order it, right, you go to order the part, or it's just what it's actually called, you know those terms and words, but not everyone that is searching for your service or your product does. So what you have to do is you have to go and find out what are they actually searching? What are they actually searching? What are the keywords that when people are looking for my service, what are they typing into Google and hitting search, right? It's not always as simple as bathroom remodeling. They may have different keywords that they are using. Like an example would be like bathroom replacement or bathroom renovation, right? If you didn't have or mention doing bathroom renovations, then you may not appear for that search. Now, sometimes Google can take inference or can understand that you also are adjacent or horizontal to that keyword of bathroom renovation. But what we want to do is we want to explicitly have it on our pages so that we appear for those keywords. See, like right here, they have also got home remodeling, which is great, house renovation. They could also do house remodeling because sometimes people will use home or house, you know. Another example of getting those variations of commonly used words on your Google Business Profile on your website so that you can pick up for those keywords. So like right here, they've got remodeler, bathroom remodeling, home addition, construction. These are all great keyword additions, keyword variations. So they're not only just appearing for bathroom remodeler, they are also appearing for home addition construction, you know? They've also got kitchen remodeling on their Google Business Profile, home build, home builders. Now, these are under their category construction company. So this is a little different than the main category that they have of bathroom remodeler. But this will still help them pick up additional keywords or keyword variations around construction company. If you have any questions, or if you have a website or a Google Business Profile you'd like me to look over live, drop it in the chat and I'll look over it. Right now in the background, I have running an audit on this site right now, coolrenovations.com. After we get done looking in search of what's currently ranking, trying to figure out why they're ranking, what are they doing, then we'll move into the audit. So that was in the first position. Now we've got the second position. They've got 1,000 photos. That is awesome. Good on them. Whatever they're doing it right. They're ranking second and with 1,000 photos. That's insane. That's awesome. They only have 37 services listed. They could probably get some more keyword variations in here. The one above them had 101. But what I really like is that their categories aren't as spread out as the one above them. Now, just looking at the Google Business Profile name, I can guess that they just only want to do remodeling because the one above is construction and bathroom remodeling. And they had they had 8 other categories. This one, it looks like they're specifically just targeting remodeling or remodeler because they've got their primary as remodeler, bathroom remodeler, general contractor, and then kitchen remodeler. So this is great. They are really honed in and specifically targeting remodeling or bathroom remodeling. Let's go down to this one. This one only has 4 photos. We've got a little bit of a low review count and a low rating at 4.7. Definitely want to get those reviews up. It's going to help you rank. You need to get that photo count up. I mean, they only have 4. We can see from these other ones. I think this one had 1,057. I think this one was the 390. Let's see. Yeah, so this one has 309 photos with videos, 101 services. They've got the keyword in their name. The primary keyword is their category. This one has 309 photos. And then this one only has, let's see. This one only has 4. Especially with something that is so visual, like remodeling. What Google's going to come to expect is that you're going to have a lot of photos in your Google Business Profile, right? Getting your kitchen remodeled, getting your bathroom remodeled is a very visual experience. So not only does it bode well with getting conversions, right? Because people can actually see the product, see the service. But what happens is that you'll have these very visual products or very visual services like remodeling, like a flooring contractor, right? Because these services and these products are so visual, what happens is that people will use more photos on their pages. So what that does is it signals to Google, okay, so these pages, irrespective of the keyword, right? Let's just think about, so all of these competitors of yours, right? Everyone in your local market is using 20 to 50 images on their pages. What this does is they will have an influence on what it takes to rank. They will change the ranking factors because they are using certain amounts of ranking factors, right? They will also change the amount on which you have to use something for it to help you rank. On average, when you look at search as a whole, I'm going to make this extremely simple so it's easy to illustrate. You don't need that many images to rank. Think about something that isn't as visual, like getting a CPA or getting a lawyer, right? Typically, those have more text on the page than they do images. So when you go and look at a lawyer keyword, what you would see on average is a higher word count than other keywords, right? Now, for bathroom remodeling, this is a visual one. So you're going to want that photo count to be up higher. So these ones that are only having 4, what's this one have? This one only has 43. And I mean, this search alone isn't respective of what it actually would take to rank for this keyword. You'd have to do more searches, more data, but currently we can see that the profiles with more photos are in the first, second position. This one right here had 9, it's in the 3rd position. This one right here is 43, and it's in the 4th position. We can also see that these two, this one had 101 services, this one had like 30 or 60. Both of these have less than 10, have less than like 15. This one only has 8. This one is specifically targeting the keyword bathroom remodeler too. The other thing to consider though is that they are closed. So this also does have an influence on what's ranking. And the modifier or the location that I have in the keyword that I'm using is also affecting it, right? Because there's basically 3 main ranking factors for the Google Business Profile, and one of them is location or prominence, right? How close is the searcher to your Google Business Profile? Will also determine where you place in rankings, right? So the first position is first, second, third, right? How close someone is to your profile will also determine how high you rank. It has an influence on it. The other thing you have to consider is that it's not only that. I've personally had a client come to me and was like, one of our customers that came in was searching next door to our competitor, but your Google Business Profile ranked above theirs. So prominence or how close you are to a Google Business Profile has a huge influence, but it's not what will knock you out of being that first position. Because like I said, that my client had a customer come in and was like, they were searching right next to one of our competitors, like literally a neighborhood down, but our profile ranked higher than theirs. And so there are a lot of other factors in getting the Google Business Profile to rank. But this is just something else to consider is because I'm not actually in Miami, when we're searching this keyword, this is also going to have an effect on these profiles. So let's go to this next one. So is that real? 0 photos? I think Plepper might be broken. Let me refresh it. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in chat. If you have a Google Business Profile you'd like me to look at over live, drop it in chat or drop your website URL. Either works. So this one, their primary category is remodeler. Interesting. Okay. I think Plepper's broken because it's saying that they have 0 photos, which isn't true. So I wonder why that's not working for this profile specifically. Let me refresh this. Photo count 43. Let's go to this one. Photo count 4. Okay, let's go down to this one. Photo count 45. Okay, 19 services. Their primary category is general contractor. Bathroom remodeler is the other one. Kitchen remodeler. So this makes sense that they're ranking below. They've got a lower review count. They've got a lower photo count. They've got a lower services count, right? When we looked at these others, this one was at like 101. This was at 70. That's also not only that, their total reviews, so 13, is lower. So we're starting to see a like consensus or like a theory forming, right? What does it take to actually rank a Google Business Profile? So again, 20 services, their primary category is targeting that, okay? So I'm not really seeing anything too crazy from these. If these guys are actually open 24 hours, that's great. Again, do not lie about how often you're open. Google will fact check you, and if it fact checks you enough and finds out that you're not actually open during those hours, you can get your Google Business Profile suspended. So we've got another one for 12 services. Okay. Let's see where my audit's at. Okay. So this is a Google Business Profile ranking report. What this does is you can see each of these squares, right? Each of these squares is where the keyword up here at the top, home remodeling near me, is searched. So what we're trying to do, what we're trying to illustrate here is from the Google Business Profile, when someone searches, let's say half a mile away, where does the profile place? So starting from the top being 1, going all the way down to, let's say, 50 or like 100, right? Where does the Google Business Profile place? This gives us an idea of how strong the profile is. Maybe what we also need to work on getting the profile ranked higher. On the right side here, this also includes the top 10 competitors. So what this does is each time it searches in a pinpoint, so as we can see visually here, each time from these pinpoints, it will also track your competitors' rankings and it will average them out to find who is ranking higher on average, who's closer to that first position on average. And so we can see for cool renovations that even very close to their profile, normally a strong profile would be number 1 or number 3 in this first area, this first like half a mile radius from their profile. But as we can see, they're averaging 6, 5, 10, right? So this is showing us two things. Rather, the profile is really weak or the competition is really fierce. So if it's the latter, what I would recommend for them is also consider getting a second profile, maybe somewhere like 5 miles, 8 miles away from their current Google Business Profile location. Because what you have to think of is that each Google Business Profile for bathroom remodeling is going to be basically like a billboard just in Google search, not a billboard you'll actually visually see when you drive on the road, right? So what happens is that for each location you have, each time someone searches, your Google Business Profile will appear for that search. And so as we get more and more profiles, we essentially get more and more eyeballs on our billboard, right? Instead of like actual eyeballs when we're driving, hence the analogy of the billboard. It's more when people are searching in Google for their service or their keyword, right? Your profile appearing is getting more eyeballs. So that is their ranking report of their Google Business Profile. Let's move into the site audit. Okay. So in their structured data, which is called Schema, schema.org is the site you want to visit if you want to learn more about Schema. Schema was made by the top 4 search engines. It was so they came together to create this language, right? It's Yandex, Google, Bing, and Yahoo. So they all came together to help create this language to help crawlers understand what websites are about. Because what they realized quickly, and this was created like a decade or almost 2 decades ago, what they realized is the web was going to get exponentially bigger and bigger. So they needed a language that they could quickly understand so that they could understand what the website is about without having to expend a lot of resources. Because what you have to consider is that Google has to crawl trillions of pages, if not daily, maybe monthly or weekly. It has to go through the web every time someone creates a new URL and crawl those pages to understand what they're about. So all of these search engines, Yandex, Bing, Yahoo, and Google, came together to create this language to help give people a format or a language that they can talk about their website in so that Google doesn't have to expend as much resources to get an understanding of what the page is about. In their schema, the audit is saying that they have 3 business entity schemas. So let's go and look at this and see what's going on. So they've got local business. They've got another local business. Let's go to schema.org and actually validate this. So this is Google's rich results test. We're just going to see currently, hey, does their schema that they have on page actually make sense? Because the audit is catching that it doesn't. Okay, so they've written their phone number format Okay, so their opening hours are just a bunch of commas. And here, I'll zoom in because this might be a little hard to see. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to see. So what we can see right here is that their opening hours are just a bunch of commas. Again, what we're doing right now is a site audit for coolrenovations.com for the keyword bathroom remodeler Miami, Florida. So we're just looking over their site, and in their schema, their opening hours are just a bunch of commas. Also, their telephone number has different formatting across their schema. Let's go look for another one. So up here, they've got the area code in parentheses, but then down here, they have it starting with a +1. So this is confusing. To Google, which one's actually your phone number? The other thing that's occurring is that in their description, so in their schema description for this URL right here, right? They have the opening and closing of paragraph HTML tags. These should not be in here. This is just improper formatting. So let's go to the rich results and see what they got going on. That's not that big of a deal. Let's go back to the audit. Okay. That's their opening hours and their schema. Okay. So something that I've started including in my audits is a advertiser tracker check, because what's currently occurring is California has these privacy laws. If you want to look it up, it's CIPA. We can actually look it up live as well. CIPA California. So it's the California Invasion of Privacy Act. What's currently occurring from my current research, I need to do more research into this, but what's currently occurring is that these law firms are visiting sites, and if you have analytics or tracking software that is on the website, so when I say this, what do I mean? So if you have like Google Analytics, if you have Post Hog, if you have Pixel, if you have LinkedIn Ad Tracker, if you have really any of these or anything that does something similar, and what I mean by this is someone lands on your website, there is a third-party software or application or script, what have you, that is on your pages that tracks information. So like an IP address, mouse movements, what they clicked on, etc. If you have this on your pages, but it automatically starts tracking without prior consent. So when you visit a site and it has that little consent thing, if on your pages that tracking fires before they've hit accept on the consent, then what people are doing is they are suing. Even if your business or your website does not operate in California, they're still suing because their rights, I don't know the exact terminology here. Also, again, I'm not an attorney. This is not law advice. This is not lawyer advice. Quick disclaimer, I'm not an attorney. So I would speak with one about your privacy policy, terms of service, and also getting something in place so that these analytics or trackers aren't just firing without getting prior consent. Right now, I'm hearing this through the grapevine and currently reading into it to make sure that all of my sites and all of my client sites are compliant. Something you definitely want to look into for yourself or contact your attorney. Again, I'm not one. Other than that, let's go back to the audit. The same page exists under several different addresses. So let's go back here. So in their blog, they have a tag for these different filterings. So how do I get there? Let's go to blog. So on their blog, how are they? So, okay, that's interesting. So let's see here. So they have tag or categories for their blog content. And what's occurring is that each time you visit the tag or you visit the category or the filter for the blog content for certain types of blog content, it's creating a new URL. When it creates a new URL, what's happening is that Google thinks that that's a new page. On that page, it's going to be thin content and it's not actually going to serve any purpose. What you're having occurring on this bathroom remodeling site is page bloat. What page bloat or URL bloat is when you have certain interfaces or you have certain aspects of your site creating unnecessary URLs. In this example, it's a tag slash category filter. What you have occurring is every time for each tag, for each category, for each filter, it's creating a new URL, right? That new URL has no purpose other than to facilitate that filtering or that tag mechanism, right? What instead you want to have occur is it does when someone clicks on those tags or categories or filters, it does it in the page. It does not create a brand new URL that has to be visited. Because again, you just have this bloat that's occurring. One site I looked at, it was creating over 1,000 new URLs that actually weren't real new URLs. They were just a combination of all of the pages because they had pagination for their blogs that listed all of their blogs, right? So they had 35 pages. On each of those 35 pages, they had links to their blog pages. Okay, so they had 9, right? Then, so let me go back. So not only do we have 35 pages, which are just links to blogs, they have no additional content. They offer no additional value other than just literally being a page with 9 URLs. They're all thin pages, not a lot of the different text. They're all essentially duplicates, right? There's really nothing that distincts them from each other, okay? So of those 35, then they also had a filter, a tag, or a category mechanism that then also created a new URL. And they had 34 of those. So, and then because you can do it in combination, so I can have a filter, I can have page 1, I can have page 2, this blew up the site from maybe like 100 URLs that are actual pages, actual content, actually distinctible from each other. They serve a purpose. To now we have just 1,000 new URLs, and Google is just wasting your crawl budget visiting these URLs instead of the 100 URLs you have that actually serve a purpose. Not only that, you're going to get penalized from Google if you just have 1,000 pages that aren't actually doing anything for you, you know? So let's see. On this page, they have a coming soon. Let's see here. So shop now. So in their footer, they have a link to a page that is / coming soon. That actually doesn't do anything. Hold on. So my audit's saying that this is a 404, but it's not. So I'm gonna correct it real quick. Okay. So they have a lot of JavaScript. Let's go back and look. So if we go to content, raw versus rendered, yep. So what's currently occurring on this bathroom remodeling site is that they're using what is called JavaScript. JavaScript requires the browser, the crawler, Google to run a script that then renders the content to be displayed on page. Why this is bad is because it costs Google money and time, and 80% or just a overwhelming majority of the time when Google comes to visit the page, that rendering is disabled. Your content is not being displayed to Google. So a majority of the time, let's say an extreme example is that you have your entire page JavaScript rendered, is that Google will come by and see nothing 8 out of 10 times. The 2 out of 10 times it will come by and it will see all of your content. So then that time it does come by and see your content, you will be ranked for that content. But an overwhelming majority of the time, it's going to come by and be like, there's nothing here. There's no keywords. There's nothing for me to rank. This isn't an actual page. So then let's go back to the audit. So on this bathroom remodeler, they are missing descriptions on 19 of their pages. And then also they've got 12 images missing alt text. And they also have this one page being linked from 60 other pages, returning a 404 error, which is not good. You're telling Google, hey, go to this URL by linking to it in the footer of all your pages, but it's returning a 404 error. Okay. So then let's go and find another website. Let's do another audit. If you'd like your website audited, just drop it in the chat below and I'll do a live one for you. I'm going to grab a new water. I'll be right back. Is this only a one-page website? It is. They've got no. This is an interesting site. Hey, they've got the link to their Google Business profile, right? This is so commonly not done correctly. I honestly highly recommend anyone currently watching to go and do an audit of your site to make sure that you're actually linking to your Google Business profiles, because often than not, I will find websites that are not rather linking to a Google Business profile or linking to anywhere near their Google Business profile. I've seen um what is that called? What was that? Oh, can you audit Cosmos Trucks Accessories? Yeah. Let's see here. Could you? Let's see. Whoops. Cosmos Truck Accessories. Hey Gabe, I just want to make sure, is this the correct site? That's the correct site. Let's see here. Can you help me? What are you? I guess you're selling truck accessories. That's the most obvious thing. Mm, let me close some of my tabs real quick, just so it's not such of a mess. And then, okay. So first things first. So our website needs a lot of work, I know. I mean, from what I'm seeing right now, it looks, I, I don't see anything wrong with it now. So first things first, right here in the top right, what I can tell is that it does not have a favicon. So favicon, that's how favicon is spelled. If you're looking to like kind of figure what that is, it's a simple little image file that you have to place. Who is this built with actually, real quick? So it's on Shopify. So there should be a setting or something in Shopify. It should just be something you can set as an image. It's super simple. What it does is that it gives you this little icon here. Notice how with Google, it has Google's icon. For yours, it's empty currently. It's not a huge thing. It's just like a tiny little thing that adds up over time. It just makes your site also look more professional. You can make it your logo. You can make it a simple little Canva letter or something. Just having one is good. But so currently that is missing. Just a tiny little favicon. You've got the address at the top. Let's look at, so it's on Shopify. CRMs go high level. Okay. Let's do a raw versus rendered real quick just to see if you have any JavaScript on the page. Okay, so that must be Shopify loading in the types of currency, which is a lot. Okay, so you do have a little bit of JavaScript. I'm not sure if this looks like to be a Shopify thing. So I would definitely get that figured out if you can get that converted to just being raw HTML. So what's happening is that Shopify is feeding, or what Shopify is doing is that they have a script of JavaScript on the page. What is happening is that this is feeding browsers, this is feeding Google, this is feeding whoever comes to the site this little script, and then they're told to run this script to then render or to then place the content on page. And so what happens the majority of the time is for SEO purposes, when Google comes by to crawl this page, it does not have rendering enabled. So what that means for you is that a majority of the time when Google comes by, it's not seeing that content. And then also it's expensive and it takes time for Google to see that content. So ideally what you instead would want to do is have it served as raw HTML. So he asks, I think the JavaScript is from custom liquid I put on pages to make a custom progress bar. So let's see. I'm very curious on why this is occurring. So a custom progress bar. Could you be more specific, Gabe? When you say progress bar, like at the top, it should have like a little bar that as I scroll down, it progresses. There might be a delay. So I'm just going to keep looking at the site while it takes a second to get that set up. So this might also be a new site. So I'm still going to say it either way. All of these, you're going to need to put actual products here. I would also replace this YouTube video. This looks like it's the default YouTube video from Shopify. Again, you're well aware of these things, but I would definitely get these fixed. The custom progress bar starts when you click the build kit lift wire pages on the hero. Okay, so let me go see what you're talking about. Starts when you click the build lift kit. So let me do build lift. Okay, so there it is. Was it that one? Build my lift. Build now. Okay, so that takes me to a different page. So that takes me to this page. The custom progress bar starts. It's the slideshow. Okay, I'm the hero. Oh, okay, there we go. The giant red thing that says build lift kit. That thing. Is that the thing you want me to click? That's on me. I definitely missed that. Okay, so I click that. That takes me to a different page. Okay, so I click one of these. That takes me to another page. I click one of these. That takes me to these pages. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I see what you're saying. So, to specifically answer what I was saying, no. So now, what may be occurring now, I'm unaware. It's going to take me a little bit of time. We're going to slowly work through this. Is that when I say JavaScript, what's currently happening is that there is certain content being pulled or being displayed on the page. This link maybe it's going to take me a second to get through to it, but I just want to make sure that I stop for a second and I talk a little bit more about this, just so not only this helps you, Gabe, because I'm also going to use this as content for me. This is also going to help me in dispersing this to kind of explain this to other people. So the JavaScript that I'm talking about is being used once it's ran or rendered. It will then pull content from what you currently have as Shopify as an example, right? That's your CMS. It will pull Shopify's data that you've placed, right? So you have your backend that you interact with and you list the URLs, the content, the text, the images, right? How Shopify could be doing that is just statically displaying it, right? You insert data table, static display on site, or they have JavaScript rendering, which is a script. It's like, hey, web browser, hey user, when you visit this page, run this code to then display the back end of all that text and images and stuff that you've placed, right? Okay. So to specifically answer the question though, what I can currently see is no. But what is occurring is that you have this, right? When someone clicks this, they want to build their lift kit and wheel entire package, right? So this is kind of like the customer journey as an example, right? Just we're going to walk through it. What is occurring is that you have a lot of URLs being created. Now, this isn't necessarily a like end all be all, but it is something to be aware of. If there's a way, instead of having us go through each of these and then that creates a new URL, if there is something in Shopify's experience, CMS, its platform, to where I don't have to go to a new page, right? Because what's happening is that you're creating a ton of new URLs. Like let's go, so this is the first page, 2, 4, 6. So this right here is creating 6 new URLs. Now, creating new URLs in it of itself, right, is not a bad thing. But each new URL you create is a new page to Google. You have to think from the context that Google has. Google is not aware of what's occurring, that this is your customer's journey, right? For them to build their lift kit, this is what they are going to have to go through, right? Because they're going to have to visually see what it takes to occur, or they're just going to go and select different services or products or packages, right? But for Google, when Google goes through this, all Google sees is that you have these 6 URLs, these 6 pages on these individual pages. Now, for some reason, there's 4,800 words on here. I'm not sure where that's occurring, but let's say that wasn't occurring, right? As an example, just to illustrate the point, on these pages, they would be light or duplicate content, right? Because there's not really much content on here. Does that hopefully that makes sense? There's not really a lot occurring on here for Google and Google's eyes, or in Google's for Google. If that I'm pretty sure that makes sense. I try to explain it as best as I could. So what happens is that it's each time you have these, right? I go here, I go here. This is another new URL. Then this is another new URL, and then this is another one, right? If I go to shop, page not found. Okay, so maybe you're still building this out. I'm still going to talk about it just to kind of illustrate and help it make sense. This isn't me bashing on you. This isn't me critiquing you. This is literally just me going through the steps just so we can also identify what's happening, right? And also it's going to be used as content for me, so it helps. It's not me personally attacking you or anything. It's just we're literally going through and I'm clicking on everything just to see what's happening. So a lot of these are 404. You're probably still building out the site. So I would worry about it, but you've also got probably a host of other things that you're supposed to do. So let's see. That's supposed to be a collection page of products. Okay. So when you say that, I'm going to link a page, is that in reference to this page? I'm just going to stop for a second so that way, because I know there's a little bit of a delay, you have time to answer my question, and then I can help you out with this. It's a reference to the page after you selected your in the customer journey. Okay, yeah. So this one, yeah. That's good for me to know. There again, there's nothing wrong. What I'm just trying to illustrate, and I just want to make sure you have an understanding of what I'm trying to say, is that we just need to be cautious of the amount of URLs we're creating, right? Because what can occur is, let's say you keep adding and adding and adding more products and services, you can get to a couple hundred to 1,000 of these pages that are going to waste your crawl budget, that are going to have other effects on what's occurring, right, to your site. And so this can really bloat up your site. I'm not saying to not do this. I'm just saying we need to be aware of like what's occurring. And so there are other methods that you can also consider doing. So what you could also do is, behind each of these, or just on this page, right, you could have like an FAQ right here. You could have a whole bunch of images of previous work. You could have testimonials on this page, even though you don't intend for anybody when they're on this page to read that, to have that on page, to have that content on page, so that when Google comes by or a crawler comes by, right, it can see that this is an actual URL or an actual page. Because what's occurring is it doesn't understand that this is a part of your customer's journey, and it just sees another URL or another page. So I think you also saw that these are currently 404ing. I still have an audit going on in the background, a internal tool that I use that is going to go through your entire site and crawl all of your URLs. It's going to click all the buttons. It's going to find a lot of like errors or things that I would say to fix. I'm going to link this to you after it's completed, and I'm also going to walk through it. It's just really extensive, and so it's going to take a minute. It's almost done. I used to have 1,200 products on my site because of my distribution centers app. I now deleted them, but do you think I still have all those pages and wasting the Google crawl budget? Um, yes. So, yes. When you say 1,200 products, you can have 1,200 products but not have 1,200 pages. So I just want to make sure that makes sense. When you say 1,200 products, does each product have their own page? When I say their own page, their own URL structure, like kind of how like this one does right here. This has its own URL structure or a URL page. Hey, it's okay. Um, so if they did, so yeah, yeah. Um, if they did have their own individual pages and you were linking to them, and what I mean by that is Google was able to find those pages. Once Google finds a page, once Google finds a URL, Google is hard to forget about URLs, right? It will hold on to URLs for, it could be years, it could be like a year to 2 years to a couple of years. So Google will continue pinging. When I say pinging, I'm saying GET request, HTTPS requests. It will continue hitting that URL, even though it 404s, right? It will keep sending a crawler bot to go and crawl that. Also, what can occur is that after you do a large migration, a large removal of URLs, you may still be linking to them somewhere on your site. And so what can occur is that you think that you know the page has been removed, but what can also happen is that you are still linking to that page from other pages that were previously set up to link to those pages. You could also still have those URLs in your sitemap. You could also have external links from other sources. You could have backlinks from your social media posts, from other people just linking back to those pages, right? Google will find those. It will follow that URL, whether it's externally or internally on your site, and it will try to load that page, load that URL without knowing that that page doesn't exist anymore. And so what happens is that in your example, you have 12,000 products. It's going to get those 12,404 errors, right? Um, yeah. So yes, the short answer is yes. That removing those, if well, there's two ifs. If they each had their own URL, and if Google found them. If Google never found them, then there's nothing to worry about. Google never found them, right? Um, so those are those two answers. Specific, just straight up yes. So I'm still waiting for my internal tool audit to come by and find it or find everything. Um, yeah, does that make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, you asking more questions actually helps me out a ton because I can just continuously clip this to make more content. Not only that, it helps me understand how do I communicate this so that people understand me. So if literally anything does not make sense, I am begging you to ask the question. Do you think I should just delete this new site or start from scratch? So Gabe has the question. He has a Shopify store. He previously had 1,200 products that he no longer sells or no longer offers on the site. So what we're walking through right now is that he may have a whole bunch of 404 errors occurring on his site because he previously had 1,200 products, right? And so his question is, do you think I should just delete this site or start from scratch? Sorry, and or start from scratch. So Gabe's question is, do you think I should just delete this new site or oh, sorry, hold on. Gabe's question is, do you think I should just delete this site that he previously had 1,200 products on and start from scratch? Personally, what I think is that you have a lot of options. What you have to consider is that are there's a lot of there's a lot of questions you have to walk down, right? One of the questions is that are you local or are you international, right? You have a Shopify store for so to me that means you are shipping internationally because there's two different things that occurs. So ranking locally for local searches, like if I was trying to get a lift kit, like lift kit near me, right? Ranking for that is totally different than ranking for buying a lift kit online internationally within the United States, right? So international searches or e-commerce or shipping, like buying products online, SEO is a totally different game than local. We are local mostly, but I would like to start selling internationally. So Gabe has given us more context. So for ranking internationally and ranking local, it is extremely difficult, nearly impossible, or just not worth your time to try to rank a site for international and local. What you're better off doing is having a site for international and having a site for local. Now, if you are currently local mostly, that is what I would focus on first. I would get that up and ranking, generating revenue, getting you leads. Then I would move into considering doing international. Because what you first want to do is you want to get your home, your local area first, before you even start worrying about international. Now, if this is currently generating you revenue, you're currently getting leads from this, I would not delete this. I would not touch this at all. I would just leave it. Instead, because you have a long-term plan, let's say a year or 2 years of where you want to do local and international, what I would do instead is I would build a brand new site with the intention of just ranking local. There is nothing against having two websites. In theory, you could rank for two of the search results when someone searches for lift kit, right? So something to think about is in this example, right? Bathroom remodeler, Miami, Florida. You could take two of these. So instead of bathroom remodeler, it's lift kit near me, wherever you're located, right? This could be your Shopify store for right now before you optimize it for international. And you could have a local website right here. So you could take up two of these search results. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that they're distinctly different, right? Because you don't want to have occur as duplicate content. You don't want Google thinking that these are exactly the same site. So you need to optimize them differently. But there is a world while you're waiting to build out your international website where you have two of the search results. So Deleting it, I would advise no. You already have the site, right? There is something though that if you're not currently getting traffic, that does have implications into what to do with this, but I would not delete it. So just doing your top level domain in quotes right here, right? Quotes, your domain, and then your .com, and then in quotes, we can see that Google already has a lot of history about your site. There's 1,100 results in doing this appearing in search, right? So I would definitely not delete this. Well, I guess also, I assumed here, when you say delete a site, I assumed you're talking about the domain name, which is this domain name. When you, so that's my fault. So when you have a site already currently set up, how do I want to say this? Let me think about this for a second. How I want to explain this. So, first thing I want to say is everything I just previously said, I missaid it. It was in reference to if you got a new domain. So, me doing this search is specifically for that domain name. The domain name, just not insulting you, just explaining it just in case, not only for you, but for when I go to clip this or etc., is that this domain name, right, cosmotruckaccessories.com, if when you say delete this site, you're saying get a new domain name, it's a hard no. Now, if you're going to do a site migration, or when you say delete the site, doesn't affect what Google previously or currently knows about the site. So, in my personal recommendation, I would say no. You're just going to add a huge layer of complexity to what's already occurring. I would personally just, it would take a lot more time to give you what I would personally do, like actionable steps. From a quick glance, from a quick conversation of just like what's occurring right here, I would say no. I would just leave things where they are. You can start considering doing 301 redirects. You could also, yeah, it would take a lot of time to go into the nitty gritty of that specifically. So what I'm gonna talk about from here going forward is keeping the domain name and having a second domain for local intent. And on that second domain, you have a more local intent website. So when I was talking earlier about ranking 2 here, this is if you had 2 separate domain names or 2 separate domains. So maybe if you had cosmotruckaccessories.com, or if you had Cosmo Truck Accessories Phoenix, or instead of Phoenix, Arizona.com, that's what I was saying when I was referring to having a new site. You get that new domain, you place a new website that is locally optimized, and that's how you would do that. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. There's that. Yeah, so going back to this, you already have such history on this domain, and for that website, I would definitely not delete it or get rid of it. It is an asset that you can use to your advantage. You can also, when you go to make that international website, you can link to it from this one. Yeah. Do you want me to keep looking, Gabe? Or do you just want me to I can link you the audit after it's done. I'll just direct message you. Yeah, so it looks like my audit wasn't able to catch the 1,200 pages. I gotta go right now, but appreciate all the help. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna DM it to you, okay? Mm. Yeah, it's finding all of the 404 as I was talking about. All right. Okay. Does anybody else have a site they'd like me to look over? If not, I'll give you a couple minutes to respond. I'm gonna turn off the stream for now. Or if anyone has any last minute questions. Again, if you're watching and have any questions, if you have a site you want me to look over or your Google business profile, go ahead and link it in chat. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off in about 1 or 2 more minutes.